What is going on, everyone, and welcome to r/EntitledParents. Now, today's first story, as you can tell by the title, is all about one crazy mum trying on her daughter's clothes. Why? I don't quite know. Before we jump into that story, firstly guys, please make sure you are subscribed to my channel. If you're not sure, go down, check the subscribe button. You may be, you may not be, just click it if you're not. I'm trying to hit 600,000 by the end of 2020. It's going to be a close one, so any help is really appreciated. My 45-year-old mum won't stop wearing my clothes. I don't understand if I'm a monster for feeling this way, but ever since I could fit into grown-up clothes, my mum has typically wanted to wear whatever I buy for myself. Sometimes new dresses that I have not even worn, she will casually roam around the house wearing them, knowing very well that the tags are not even off. After the pandemic, due to the weight I gained, I had to move up a size, so now everything is up for grabs. The clothes that we supposedly bought for Diwali, she already wore hers to work. The festival is like 2 weeks away, whereas mine are still saved for the occasion. She asked me yesterday how would I wear them. They are spaghetti straps, she doesn't prefer them. Then when I answered, she asked me, I meant how will I wear it? You know I don't prefer such sleeves. She stretches out a good deal of my clothes and basically wears anything that I buy for myself to work the very next day. Keep in mind that I am at home due to the pandemic and study from home right now. Her normal reaction to things, which somehow don't end up fitting her, is berating me for having terrible taste in clothes. Moreover, she always complains that she has nothing to wear, when in fact her closet is twice as large and she wears everything she buys the very next day. I just save my clothes. Now this has been the case for a really long time now. At this point, I have resorted to literally hiding new clothes, but for the festival, I really could not do this because I would have to wear those clothes in public, and she would get mad at me anyway if I sprung up new clothing out of nowhere and accuse me of hiding things. Anyway, is this normal? Is it normal for mums to have dibs on their daughter's clothes and for them to not even ask for permission and assume everything their daughters buy is for them to use and own? Am I a terrible selfish person for feeling trashy every time I see my mother prancing around in a new skirt I did not even get a chance to wear? Moreover, she knows I get annoyed by it, but I say nothing, which is why she always mocks me whenever she does it. Asks dumb questions like, oh, how are you supposed to wear this, hee hee, and then gets mad at me if I let the slightest annoyance show on my face. Anyway, I'm really sorry, I just needed to vent. Is this normal? No, absolutely not, OP. It's like the weirdest thing I've ever heard, to be honest. Your mum trying on the clothes that you bought for yourself before you even get a chance to. That's really weird. I would see someone about that. I mean, at least you're posting it now on Reddit to get some support and advice from the lovely people of Reddit. But yeah, I would say that's really strange. Your mum's a bit weird. That's all I can say. Now for our second story. Dad acts like I'm obligated to spend the holidays with him. I was raised by a single father with whom I rarely saw eye to eye. He tried to mold me into his views of traditional masculinity, the good and the bad. He'd praise me when I excelled in certain roles, like a handyman or football player, but then be dismissive over crying or being bullied at school. He took his role as the disciplinary figure very seriously, even during the holiday season. My dad always throws a party for our family every Thanksgiving and Christmas. He provides great food and some of my relatives are pretty decent. However, my dad is a terrible host. He had everyone come over, including people who were toxic to be around. I swear, every year there's always some fight about the pettiest of things. All the vegans get is a salad? The kids shouldn't watch anything with Santa in it? A gift card? You couldn't have just sent me money? It's like they're so obsessed with making everything perfect that anything not going their way is just unacceptable. On top of all that, my dad pretty much makes the parties all about him. He tries to micromanage a lot of activities, from the movies we'd watch to whatever we made conversation about. The worst was when he'd brag about me into sounding like he molded me into his views on traditional masculinity. He'll brag that I was the MVP in youth football even though I hated it, or that I kicked butt in martial arts, even though that's not what it was about, nor why I enjoyed it. When I mention achievements I'm actually proud of, like taking up creative writing or a new book I'm reading, he'll pay no heed. My dad says he's happy I have a girlfriend, but also that he's glad I didn't turn out LGBT. As far as gifts go, he'd only get me things that he approved of, whether I wanted them or not. New boxing gloves or clay pigeons? Heck yeah. A PS4 or 3DS? Could be worse. A journal or the entire Harry Potter book series? No, I won't do that to you. Basically, I've come to associate the holidays with my dad asserting more dominance than usual and being forced to interact with toxic family members. Fortunately for me, my girlfriend's dad invited me to spend both Thanksgiving and Christmas with them. Finally, I think I'll get to enjoy myself for a change. Then, earlier today, my dad called me asking me when I'm coming over for Thanksgiving. I told him I already said I wasn't coming and that I'd be going to my girlfriend's place. He said things like, "You always spend the holidays with your old man," or "Your cousins like seeing you, you know." My cousins have stopped coming over for the holidays for years. I tried arguing that inviting family over might not be a good idea anyway due to the pandemic. People like my grandpa or Uncle Devin are at a higher risk. He called BS on that, since you don't seem worried about giving your girlfriend COVID. I've tested negative and nobody coming over is at high risk. Then my dad went on this tirade. "Oh, I see how it really is. You still think I'm a terrible father, right? You'd rather throw me and your whole family under the bus when all we want to do is spend the holidays with you. I'm offering you free food and family time, but you'd rather throw it down the drain than be grateful I'm even allowing you into my home. You're welcome, by the way." I've told my dad many times how bad he makes me feel, about myself or even just in general. He'd always argue though, "I gave you everything you needed to survive in this tough world. If I made you feel that bad, how'd you get so good at karate? You wouldn't know how to get a girlfriend if it wasn't for me." In other words, my feelings are invalid because I still succeeded in some aspects of my life. Seeing as we weren't getting anywhere, I hung up. I hate it when my dad guilt trips me like this, because as much as everyone's told me he's wrong, there's still some part of me that feels like I should feel guilty. I get that Christmas and Thanksgiving are about family, but for once, I'd like to be with a family that's actually fun to be around. Others have said I should be grateful I even have a dad, let alone one that's taking care of me. But that's like saying having a dog that barks and bites you is better than being petless. I don't know, I just want a nice holiday season for once. Wow, very interesting story this time. Personally, I would say, yeah, it's nice that you got a dad and that he's still in your life, because, you know, a lot of people, unfortunately, maybe don't have a dad for whatever reason anymore in their lives, but it doesn't really matter if your dad is like this and, you know, is really possessive and demanding and tells you that all your successes in life have been because of him. That's not what a dad should be, right? He should try and build you up and, you know, let you do what you want to do. If you want to go and read Harry Potter, by the way, great series of books. You haven't read it or not heard of it, guys. Then yeah, go and read Harry Potter. Great stuff. And if you want to write creatively, go and write creatively. It doesn't have to be, you know, all macho stuff just because you're a man. That's a thing of the past. Come on, we're not in the 1920s anymore, are we, guys? Unless my clock is wrong, then we might be. Anyway, overall, yeah, your dad's a loser. Go to your girlfriends and just stay with her. Have a great holiday season. Come on, you've got to be allowed to enjoy your holidays. If you're not enjoying your holidays with your own family, then there's a problem there. Get out of there, go to your girlfriend who's actually nice and she probably has a great family. And yeah, your point about COVID, by the way, was another good one. I mean, I know my family, we're not going to be breaking the rules this Christmas, that is for sure. So you shouldn't either, if there are rules wherever this is. I don't even know. Let's move on. Now for our third story. My mother and brother have terrorized me for years. Am I wrong here? This may be long, everyone, and support will be appreciated. I'm a 24-year-old female and I've been dating my 25-year-old male boyfriend for 9 years, as opposed to a female boyfriend, of course. This is important later on. My mother is an older woman. She had me at 40 years old, and I have 3 older brothers, one of which is 9 years my senior. Let's call him G. He went to college and obtained his bachelor's in accounting. I got my bachelor's in social work, and I am in graduate school for higher education, all in which I have paid for out of pocket. I've over 70,000 in loans because my mother was going through hard times, although she has land and houses in other states and Jamaica. In short, G and my mum hate my boyfriend and have always hated him. We started dating in high school and he was very respectful of my mother, but she said, "My spirit doesn't like him." She and my brother devised multiple plans to split us up while my mother was always physically and emotionally abusive towards me and G growing up. The difference between me and G is that I never followed the path my mother wanted me to take. In turn, she would threaten to make sure I wouldn't get loans for college and barely help me otherwise. It was completely different from my brother G. He was able to get through college without debt, work a job he hates, and now he has a wife and daughter. There are 2 stories of entitlement that I want to get into, but I'll only post this one that's the most recent. If you want to know more, let me know and I'll post it as well. I'll decide that later on. This issue happened last November. My brother and his wife invited me to their baby shower. We live about 10 minutes away from one another, and of course my mother was invited. She lives about 9 hours away, and she needed someone to host her for the time being. I asked her to stay at my brother's house because I'm currently living in a 1-bedroom apartment with my boyfriend and 2 cats. There's just not enough space for us, let alone her. She also disrespects him constantly, even though I tell her how much I love him and that I will not be leaving him anytime soon. I knew that this would cause conflict because it always does. She said that she swore that she wouldn't cause any problems though, and that I'm only staying for a few days, so it doesn't matter. I reluctantly told my boyfriend that she was coming to stay with us, and he was furious. I told him that there was no stopping it, unfortunately, and we just have to put up with her for 3 days. He begrudgingly agreed, but told me that if she starts any issues that she can't stay with us. Fast forward to the date of her arrival, it was midterms and I had a huge paper to write. I was working 3 jobs at the time and I was exhausted. At the time, my boyfriend was working part-time as a front desk assistant while I went to school. He pays the majority of the bills while only working part-time. I came home and called her to see when she would be arriving. She told me that she was at my brother G's house and that she won't be arriving for another 6 hours. I sighed with relief because I could take a much-needed nap before cleaning up the house. My boyfriend and I slept for a bit, and then my phone rings. It was my mother. "I'll be there in 5 minutes. I look at the clock in panic. It had only been 2 hours, not 6. I jumped up and told my boyfriend. He was so unimpressed. She arrives and here it goes. "This place is filthy. Don't you care about your home? I can't stay in a place like this. OP, take this boy to the store and buy proper cleaning supplies so that I can clean this place." I told her that I had just come from a 12-hour day of classes and work and that I was too tired to go to the store. I told her that I washed her sheets and got her a pillow in order for her to be comfortable on the couch. We can figure out cleaning the next day. But she was irate. "No, you are going to go to the store now because I'm your mother and I'm telling you to. I will not stay in a filthy home." Mind you, we pre-cleaned by making sure both litter boxes were clean and we made sure the common area was pretty decent for her to reside. While she was screaming, one of my cats decided to commit the ultimate sin. Going to the bathroom. "OP, that's disgusting. Clean this now. I will not sleep next to cat poop." I told her that she knew I had 2 cats and that we can't scoop right after they use the bathroom every time. I gave up arguing and practically dragged my boyfriend to the store and used my last $30 to buy cleaning supplies. We did not have a lot of money at the time. We get back to the house and she has completely destroyed it. In the 45 minutes it took for us to get to the store, she had pulled everything from its place. The kitchen, the bedroom, the living room, and my closet. Everything was in a pile on the floor. The cats were nowhere to be seen because they were terrified of the stranger coming in and destroying their home. My boyfriend was of course livid, mostly because in her reign of chaos she emptied out the cat's food and water dish. He asked her why she did that and oh my god guys, she took off. "How dare you ask me questions, boy? You're the reason why she's living like this. You don't do anything and I will spit on you as soon as I'm done here." I sat down with a mix of shock, anxiety, and exhaustion while they argued back and forth with each other. She's calling him a bum and a POS, and he's telling her that she has no right to come into his home and disrespect us both. She laughed and told him that she'll call my brother G and they can fight it out. My boyfriend told her that if that man comes near him or I, that he won't be walking away without severe injury. She used that and called G, telling him that "I'm not safe here. That boy is threatening my life and your sister isn't doing anything about it." I told her to give me the phone and I calmly told my brother that I would drop our mother at his house and that he would have to deal with her. He is now irate and screaming that he's coming over to kick my boyfriend's butt and all of this rubbish. I told him to stop and calm down, but he hung up on me after telling me that he's on his way over to my apartment. I'm panicking at this point, and my boyfriend picks up her bags to happily walk them downstairs for my mum, but she grabs at the bags and tells him not to touch them. They argue until my brother calls my mother to come downstairs. I pick up my mum's bags to get her out, and she knocks them out of my hands and runs downstairs. She brings my brother to my door, and I tell them from behind the door to leave or else I would call the police. They say they just want to get her bags, and I slightly crack the door open to toss them out. But G then rushes the door, pushes me down and runs into my apartment to get at my boyfriend. My boyfriend goes into our bedroom to protect himself, and my brother kicked down my bedroom door. No BS, straight off the hinges. My boyfriend is in the room, not surprised, and proceeds to pull his pocket knife out and tells him to get back or he's getting sliced. My brother then becomes scared and jumps behind our mum for protection. They argue back and forth while I'm looking at my property damage, and I scream, "Get out of my house! Get out!" They then take my gifts for the baby shower, and my brother yells, "OP, don't come tomorrow. You're not welcome at the baby shower." They leave, and my house is a mess. By the way, I forgot to mention that my mother started taking pictures of the mess that she made in order to tell people that I was living in an awful situation, which just wasn't the truth. Luckily, I grabbed her phone and deleted the pictures. So, the aftermath. A few days go by and my brother calls me to tell me that he will no longer be paying my phone bill, and I begged him not to cut it off because I was already broke and having a hard time keeping up with bills already. I also have had the same number for years and I didn't want to change it. I told him that he has to pay for the property damage that he did to my home, and he hung up on me and disconnected my phone within 30 minutes of asking for compensation. Luckily, I figured this would eventually happen, and I had saved up enough money to start my own plan. I haven't spoken to him since. My mother and I have not mended our relationship. I blocked her number and her email address in order for me to check on her when I am ready. I started to call her once a week to make sure she was okay, and it began to dawn on me that this has been my life for years and that I wasn't going to take it anymore. So I stopped calling. She started crying every day and telling people to get in contact with me, even to the point of threatening to tell my aunt not to speak to me anymore if I didn't call her, and that God will stop caring for you if you keep treating me this way. I've had to go through therapy, and I demanded that she pay for my door. She agreed, to be fair, and she paid for the damages. Am I wrong for cutting my family off? I feel guilty because the COVID-19 pandemic is running rampant where she lives, and I haven't contacted her to see if she's safe. My niece was born and I never received a phone call, photo, or anything. I'm devastated because I really wanted to have a bond with my niece, but I feel like that will never happen now. Oh, that just sucks that they've taken away that chance for you to have a good bond or even a relationship with your niece from birth. What a sort of I just don't understand how one entitled mother can produce one kid like your brother G and then one kid like you who are just so different. I guess you explained it in the intro, but yeah, I think it's just so baffling that one woman can produce such different people. It's a weird one, isn't it? But honestly, OP, I think you really need to reread what you've written if you're still wondering what the best course of action here is, or if you're in the wrong at all. You need to just cut these people out of your life immediately. I've said it before, I'll say it again. What is the point of even talking to these people? Yes, they're your family, but who cares? You don't like them as people. In fact, you probably should despise them as people because they were gonna beat up your boyfriend. I just don't understand it. The way your mum's acting, the way your brother comes over and tries to start and fight your boyfriend, just get them out of your life before it's too late and they really do something that is going to be massively regrettable in your opinion. Yeah, dodgy people, get rid of them, move on. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/EntitledParents. I really hope you have enjoyed it, and if you did and you want to see more straight away, then check out the playlist on screen of my best Entitled Parents videos of all time. They're pretty quality. Also, if you are new around here, like I said in the intro, make sure you are subscribed. Just click the button. If you don't want to, then I don't like you. Simple as that. And I will see you all tomorrow with a brand new upload.